Hi, Erick Schonfeld with TechCrunch here. The big news of the day, Meg Whitman is taking over the helm at HP, and I have Frank Gillett from Forrester to talk about the news. So, the former CEO, Leo Apotheker, wasn't even given a full year, and made a bunch of moves that Wall Street didn't like, and now the board is throwing him out and putting Meg Whitman in his place. Is that a smart move, or was there somebody else who could have done a better job?
Well, if the answer was who could have done it immediately, no, it's not clear there was a better person. So if they had decided to take more time, they probably could have found someone with more industry experience who probably would have been better for the job. But it's really hard to know. There's not a lot of people that you can think of that would be qualified to run the largest technology company by revenues.
So the last time they switched CEOs, they got rid of their last CEO in a hurry, and then they picked Leo. Don't you think that this time they should have taken the time to really pick the best CEO? And I'm not saying it's not Meg, but if it's not Meg, if what you're suggesting is that she's the best person they could find in the limited time period they had, what's the rush?
Well, the company has lost almost half its market cap by value. And the question is, what kind of damage do you do to the company if you go through another multi-month uncertain search? And we read in news reports today that they didn't feel like they had strong candidates that they were really excited about last time, that it was hard to find candidates who would put their hat in the ring. And so you face this really difficult choice between, do we go with someone who's already on the board, who has a multi-month head start on the issues, who's already aware of and voted on these things and can hit the ground running, or do we go through a search for, quote, the best candidate and repeat the process that less than a year ago proved very divisive for the board and very challenging in terms of finding candidates. It's not an easy choice to make. They have apparently decided to go with the quick choice, and it makes a lot of sense to me that they do that because there's all this perception that, quote, HP is coming apart. Now, I think that's a load of baloney, because the HP is not coming apart, but there is a lot of strategic uncertainty, which makes Wall Street unsettled, and it perhaps unsettles some PC customers, but the rest of them, the products are good. It's not a bad server today when it was a good server yesterday.
So the CEO that she's replacing made a shift in strategy, stated that he was going to spin off or sell the PC business.
That's right.
As well as discontinue the touch computing products that came with the Palm acquisition.
That's right.
Do you think that Meg should continue that strategy, or should she rethink everything and create her own strategy going forward?
Well,
they haven't sold the business yet, right?
no, but they have completely nuked the mobile hardware business, the touch hardware business. They haven't spun off the WebOS stuff or sold the PC business. And the other thing, while we're at it, is do they undo the autonomy purchase, which hasn't been finalized?
Right.
So in reverse order, the autonomy purchase, I think strategically was a good idea. They might have overpaid for it. I haven't looked carefully at the pricing, but that one made a lot of sense to me. Tanking the WebOS hardware business, I think, was a strategic error, and it diminished the value of the PC business for spinning off or selling to someone else. They could still resuscitate the WebOS and license it as they were talking about, but to do that, I think they'd really have to go find someone with strong licensing experience because they don't have that in their portfolio or background, from the Palm acquisition or anything else. I do think Meg has to sort of eventually develop her own strategy, but frankly, I think her first move here is damage control. She has to sort of turn around the perception problem that HP has and stabilize things, because I think that's what got them the market concern and what led the board to rethink things just a month after approving those radical moves. So in the short run, I think you don't rock the boat. She might have, if the boards truly changed their mind and reverse course in just 4 weeks, which would be kind of surprising unless they got some new startling information and been hidden from them, which we haven't heard about yet. Then
so you think that the strategy, that the board is still on board with the strategy, they're just not on board with the person who created the strategy.
Yeah, it would be hard to imagine that they would have reversed strategy and that they threw the CEO out because they changed their mind. That would just be, that would indicate the need to significantly overhaul the board, which may be in fact part of what HP needs to do in the long run.
Do you think that that strategy made sense? It seemed like HP was going the IBM route, right, to go all enterprise, but yet my sense is that the PC business was their entry point into a lot of enterprise sales, that a lot of enterprises wanted to buy soup to nuts, PCs, servers, and all the software in between. So was that a strategic mistake, or do you think that it's good to get rid of that part of the business that wasn't very profitable?
I liked and thought it was a good differentiation to have the spectrum of offerings for customers. As I understood the rationale, the reason they wanted to spin off the PC business was because they needed cash to overhaul the enterprise side of the business. But frankly, I would have gone the other way. I would have thought about spinning off, say, inkjet printers or consumer printers to raise money and hold on to maybe the commercial side of the printer business. And as you suggested, hold on to the PC side of the business, because the enterprise customers do want to buy more from the same vendor, and they do want more integrated solutions, and HP was in a strong position to offer that. So, Meg's in the position where she can undo parts of this. She isn't going to be able, I don't think, to recover the touch hardware business. But the rest of it, she can rethink it, and I think she may. When they announced the decision in August, it was for WebOS, the operating system, and for PCs, it was, we're going to enter a period of strategic evaluation. So that gives Meg the opening to do the strategic evaluation and conclude that she needs to retain it, and then look at other options for raising cash to do whatever overhaul she concludes she needs.
Okay, and final question really quickly. If you look at the stock price of HP and Oracle, since Mark Hurd left and then was hired by Larry Ellison to be president of Oracle, they diverge, and Oracle is up almost as much as HP is down.
Yeah.
Do you think that if Hurd had remained as CEO, that HP would be doing better than it is today?
Given the way the tech press, which includes you and I, and the Wall Street traders hyperventilate about company problems, I think HP's problems are overstated. So if Hurd had stayed and the sort of hadn't been all this turmoil, I don't think the stock would have dropped as much. But I think in some sense that's the wrong question. I do think that under Hurd, HP was underinvesting in technology and innovation and needed to turn that around. And so I think they had started to do that and then sort of took a left turn back in August. So in the short run, the company might have been better off if Hurd hadn't left, but in the long run, I'm not convinced they would have been.
But Palm was his acquisition, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Well, maybe he didn't have. He needed another year.
Well, absolutely. There could have been more execution, but I got to say, outside of Palm, I didn't see the kind of investment in innovation and technology that I would have liked to have seen in HP.
True. Okay. Well, thank you for coming on TechCrunch TV, and it'll be interesting to see what Meg does with HP.
Thanks very much for having me.